Welcome everybody to the Chess Lab. The game that I'm about to show you will leave you speechless. So with the white pieces we have Benjamin, Gledura, and with the black pieces Tuan, Minh, Lee. In this game there is at some point, well, you'll see. So d4 by Benjamin and d5 by Tuan. c4, c6, the Slav defense, and now knight to f3. Knight to f6, e3, bishop to f5, and here comes knight to c3. e6, so you know, black was able to put the pieces, I will say the bishop rather than the pieces, outside of the pawn chain, and that's pretty good. Knight to h4, going after the bishop, bishop to e4, and here comes f3. Now you may be thinking, what about knight takes e4? It seems good, right? Knight takes e4, and here, yes, the knight is under attack, but you go back, white won the bishop pair. The problem is that here the best move is d takes e4. Rather counterintuitive if you ask me, but once you see it, you realize the concept behind it. The knight is trapped thanks to this pawn, and so here black is threatening g5, trapping the knight, so g3 is the best move, only move bishop before now, and here after bishop d2, bishop takes d2, queen takes d2, and c5, what's going on? This knight is questioning his life choices, right? Because it's just there. And there is a lot of pressure in the center. Knight to c6 is coming, short castle is coming, queen to e7, rook 8 to c8, rook f to d8. And that's pretty bad for white, and because of these reasons f3 was played. Bishop back to g6, and now bishop to d2. You can take this bishop, but after h takes g6, you know, maybe there are some ideas of knight h5, queen to h4, and if you play g3, the knight can simply take, and once you take back, the rook will fall. So, you know, that's not really enthusiastic. So bishop to d2, and now bishop to e7. And since now this bishop is looking at h4, and since now you are closer to long castle, which is, big spoiler, the actual idea behind black's moves, knight takes g6 was played, h takes g6, and here queen to c2, so white won indeed the bishop pair, and he is ready to long castle, start with a crazy attack, and we are here for that. So knight b to d7, long castle as expected, and here d takes c4. This is a very smart move because after bishop takes c4, the bishop was lured into the c4 square, and so, you know, here comes b5 with a tempo on the bishop. Bishop goes back to e2, and now a6, preparing, you know, and consolidating the position a little bit more. I think threatening c5, here you would love to play c5 to really blast open the position of the white king, but maybe black was a little bit afraid of bishop takes b5 or some other ideas, and so a6 first, securing the b5 pawn. So e4 striking at the center, look at the beautiful position that white has created, rook to c8 lining up with this queen and this king, so very sensible move by white, king to b1, prophylactic move, and now comes c5 striking at the center, d5. And this is again a very important move. If you play d takes c5, or if you allow black to take or push, it may become very dangerous. By pushing d5, you don't allow the opening of this file, and you rather start to attack in the center where your opponent's king is. So e takes d5, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, e takes d5, and here we are threatening some quick development with very crazy attacks here on the center. So short castle was played, and here comes h4. The idea is very simple. You want to play h5, and if black ever takes, well, you'll take back with the rook, and then queen h7 would be checkmate. This is kind of the main idea. Knight to f6 was played, and here of course you cannot play h5 because also the knight now controls the square, and so h5 was played because of course this is you know, a chess lab video, and crazy things happen all the time. So knight takes h5, and here you can consider the sacrifice of the rook, but that's all it is, a consideration, because it's not really good. G takes h5, rook to h1 may be considered. Again, lot of considerations, but queen takes d5. And of course, if white was able to play rook takes h5, then it will be pretty bad for black. But here simply g4, because of course the queen by taking the pawn is also defending h5. g4, and again, you know, black cannot take because queen h7 will be checkmate. So h4, and here again, you can take this, but then you realize you hang your rook and you cry and you resign. So g5, trying to, you know, stop this communication. but here bishop takes g5 anyways. Bishop takes g5, queen takes g5, and again, white has not enough pieces anymore, and this pawn simply is defended, but even if you were able to capture it, a move like g6 or rook somewhere will be probably enough to survive, because the fact that there are no two rooks, doesn't allow some crazy combinations with queen h7, queen h8, the king has to run, and then is checkmate, because there's only one rook. So because of all of these reasons, g4 was played instead of sacrificing for the knight. Knight to g3, and here it seems like white is in big trouble, because this rook is under attack, but also the bishop is under attack. So here rook to h2 was played, very sensible move, and here bishop d6. The reason why black didn't took this bishop is a genius reason, which is rook d to h1. And here you are threatening checkmate, and apparently the situation is now suddenly pretty bad for black. And in the game happened something very similar. Bishop d6 was played, and here f4. And the problem is, if you don't take that bishop, white is simply gonna advance with the pawns, and it's gonna be trouble, especially f5. It looks very, very scary with the queen coming back, supporting it. So knight takes e2, and here rook d to h1 again. This was just a sacrifice of a piece, which is already pretty cool, nothing compared to the move that is the reason why I'm showing you this game. But, it's a pretty cool sacrifice, just giving away the bishop, creating this very powerful battery, threatening rook to h8 mate. You cannot push this pawn, and if you move this rook, is still checkmate, so the only way to save yourself is to play f5. And here g takes f5 was played. You may expect winning back the piece, right? Nah, not really. G takes f5, and the idea is to play f takes g6, controlling the f7 square, and after that, checkmating the black king. Now, black may consider taking or escaping. The problem is, black saw that he's up a piece, and he wanted to just save the knight, which I believe is a very sensible idea. So he played knight to g3. And here, if you play f takes g6, it doesn't work because of knight takes h1. Now, because of some crazy tactical reasons that we will see in the game, so I'm not gonna showing you, this is still completely winning for white. But, the idea is that white, in this variation, loses this powerful battery, and so he didn't really like it, and we can understand why. So in this position, guys, feel free to stop the video, because one of the greatest moves that I've ever seen was played. Okay, guys, and here, white blundered terribly. He played the move queen to e4. And queen to e4 would be a blunder, because if you look, let's say that they are playing a bullet, boom, 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 it's just a blunder, right? Knight takes e4, you lose the game. But it turns out that queen to e4 is the absolute best move, and is like quadruple digit IQ. It is ridiculous move. The idea behind queen to e4 is to go to e6, deliver check, and after the rook stops, only move, a rook to h8 is checkmate. And the reason why you can allow yourself to play queen e4 is the genius reason that after knight takes e4, you are distracting the knight away from the attack on the rook. You can play f takes g6, controlling this very famous f7 square, and the rook h8 is now unstoppable. Not only that, black can even play knight takes d2 check, with the idea that if you take here, black has the time to play rook here and sacrificing the rook for the pawn, and then escaping towards f7. The problem is that here you play king to c2. And white is winning, is mating two moves. Rook h8 is absolutely unstoppable. The best move is queen h4, but this is so sad that I just put in rook f4 as a variation, and rook h8 is checkmate. I mean, this is spectacular stuff. And once you see the explanation afterwards, you may say, I mean, this is not such an insane move, but let's imagine you are in this position, you just lost a piece, your rook is under attack, that is your only hope. You would love to play f takes g6, but it doesn't work. We saw that it worked, but it's because of the same reason, queen e4. And in this position, he played the damn move queen to e4. This is some, some next level stuff. But okay, knight takes h1 was played, and here comes queen to e6 check. If you play f takes g6, is still winning, but queen e6 check is much more decisive and is a forcing line. Here the only move is rook to f7, and here follows f takes g6. So here white idea is to gain back the rook with interests, plus this knight is very embarrassed. So rook to c7 defending the rook, but now comes genius stuff, queen to h3. Seeing this whole idea, seeing this whole idea with the knight here on g3 controlling e4, I have no idea how he did it, but he did it. Congratulations to Benjamin Gledura, really crazy stuff. So king to f8 was played, because of course here you are threatening queen to h8 checkmate. King to f8 was played, but now queen h8 anyways. The king went to e7, and after rook to e2 check, black resigned the game. The reason why black resigned the game is because after king to d7 you have the absolutely fantastic move. Even feel free to stop the video if you want, because this is very hard to see, especially if you are a beginner. I'm gonna tell it to you. You have the move queen to h3, and after rook to f5 only move queen takes f5 is checkmate. Now you have to understand that back in this position you basically have to see queen to e4, queen to d6, and then after the pawn takes, queen back to h3, queen to h8, queen takes g7, and after the rook, queen to h3. Like, it breaks my mind. It's not even, the variation that I just showed you with the arrows is not really true, it's just me confusing. But like, queen to e4 is really something else. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed this game. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your chess.